This is an INnoVation versus Rogue best of 7 for you guys on the beautiful YouTube channel. Hello, how you doing? Starting us off on game number 1 of this best of 7 on Nightshade. Our red Terran player, top left-hand side, is INnoVation. Taking on the bottom right-hand side, blue Zerg player from Jin Green Wings. This is Rogue. So hello everyone on YouTube. So a little bit of mentioning to be doing, and I'm going to have to do it real quick because we've got proxy racks coming down. Just doing this cast as a special. This is from the Afreeca World Finals. There was a little tournament they did. A couple players didn't show up, so they basically made INnoVation Rogue like a best of 7 show match instead of it being like a 4-player tournament. So this is that best of 7. This was played 19th of April or something around there. And this is me casting it for you guys on YouTube. I am doing this cast live on Twitch because it's my kind of day off my own stream because I'm only doing a Red Bull stream later. And I kind of wanted to put my Twitch channel live. So I'm going to be treating this as a YouTube cast, but it is on Twitch, and there might be like a ding of a notification at some point. So just a little explanation as to what this is. Of course, if you're excited by this 2-Rax proxy, do consider liking, commenting, and subscribing down below. We'll talk more about that later because obviously this is getting going. And already Rogue has seen the first barrack. So straight away, Rogue very aware of what's going on. Now, what I find all really interesting here is that he hasn't pulled a single drone. Because actually, when you see the racks this quickly, usually you do pull a drone. What direction does Overlord take? Maybe the Overlord went up and then turned around to see it. So maybe it is just a little bit late to maybe pull drones against us. He pulls a few drones to the low ground, so he's going to look to try and slow down the bunker. Damage on the SCV obviously can add up quite nicely here. Obviously, the more of that damage you get on the SCV now, the easier you have, the easier time you have denying this basically a few moments down the road. So there's that bunker starting. More drones are going to pulse. He's really going to go for the drone pull and trying to deny this bunker ever coming up. Pulse around. That's a quick cancel. INnoVation will come back in, start another bunker. Marines now here to support this. A spine crawler on the way up from Rogue as well. There's a little bit of back and forth. And the drone takes a little bit of damage. 12 more Zerglings on the way up. The Queen currently building as well as another bunker coming down towards the ramp. And these couple Zerglings of Rogue just going to be hanging around. The drones wanting to pull into this. The Zerglings all gathering up together. And here we go. Things going to go running through and just going to be seeing our drones chasing this back. So the important part of this is while you chase these Marines away, you're meant to be denying these bunkers. But this is not a denial on the bunker. So now he's going to have to dive on this one. Will get the kill. Costs him 3 drones so far. As you're going to see, this next SCV goes down. Now the Queen is out. And with the spine crawl at the front, a Queen here to help it. This should be a hold from Rogue. This should be a defense. Of course, it comes at the cost of a lot of drones pulled off the line, so mining an advantage here from INnoVation. But Rogue still comes out of this on 2 bases. A good saturation on main and natural. Can drone up pretty freely from here as well. Especially when he sees right now these Marines going home. Now he knows he can actually just drone. Does not need any Zerglings for the foreseeable future. This barracks coming in tells you the sort of same thing. If there's no more Marines being produced, you're much safer to just sort of set up the drones here. So INnoVation is going to pull back home. Now this is only a 2-Rax, which means you get gas going behind it. Your factory as a follow-up is honestly not that late. So that factory and reactor on the way now. Going to be seeing another command center off to the side. And just a few of these Marines setting up at the front here. As this Rax goes flying in toward the main base, I'm just going to be seeing INnoVation. I think is kind of, he's okay, right? Like, he killed a few drones, a lot of drones pulled off the line. I think this is all right for him. He also keeps a lot of Marines alive too, so there's not really much potential for any kind of counter damage. There's not going to be any slowing down on the natural expansion being taken. He can pretty much get that up and running straight away. And he's going to go for medevac with these Hellions. So definitely potential to do some further damage at this point. There's 25 SCVs to 26 drones. This is looking pretty good. It's funny because I actually think INnoVation Proxy Racks Rogue in the GSL, and I believe it was on Zen, and it was actually a very similar setup where the Proxy Racks did okay but didn't win the game. And I remember I actually had an argument in the YouTube live chat, and I was like, well, it's over. Rogue's taking too much damage, and it was way more damage than what he took this time. Because bunkers got up, you had to break out of them. And this guy was just like, you have no idea how proxy barracks work. Mate, INnoVation is dead. Like, he built his barracks across the map. I'm like, dude, it's 2-Rax. He's got a factory at home. He's got an expansion. He's like, but his barracks were across the map. And I'm like, okay, I just can't deal with this. This is the moment I turned YouTube chat off. turns out my own YouTube comments have really made me think YouTube was a good place, and I think it still is, but on the GSL stream it absolutely wasn't. But it was very similar. My whole point of the story is that the Hellion drop came in afterwards, and that's when a lot of the extra drones went down because Rogue didn't have ling speed. In this case, he just has a lot of lings, and he will be able to save this. And this one guy in the YouTube chat was like, well, now he's dead because he messed up against the Hellions. I'm like, no, because he has no ling speed, he's dead. And he lost so many drones, he has no lings to defend it. And this is the perfect counter example where he didn't take as much damage early. So even without ling speed, he has the numbers to shut this Hellion drop down. I wouldn't say it's still great for Rogue. He's actually down to 30 drones against the 33 SCVs. The economy for INnoVation continuing to build up quite nicely. As we're going to be seeing a few Zerglings pulling away over the right side. Stimpack is about halfway done, and the transition continues from INnoVation with a third CC starting. Rogue building roaches. There's not really any need for him to build roaches right now unless he wants to go across the map and end this game. So Rogue's just going for this. He's just going to commit. I'm extremely surprised he hasn't built ling speed considering how many lings he has. In fact, I'm almost convinced he thinks he has ling speed. I don't believe Rogue is about to attack across the map with 30 plus slow Zerglings. As this Liberator comes in, gets one kill, shot down pretty quickly here. INnoVation finds himself losing out on that Liberator. As you do just see the Hellions pulling back up into the center, and the medevac of INnoVation into the center of the map. A Ravager dropping down, and well, a couple other Ravagers coming through. A lot of lings coming into the center here as well. Overlord gets picked off. The rest of these Zerglings continuing to come on into the center. And just going to be seeing a few extra roaches coming up in production. I just can't believe he's walking across the map with slow Zerglings. You've got to be kidding me, Rogue. 2 bunkers up from INnoVation. I actually think this is really just going to be game because there's just no breaking this front. I mean, so what if you take down a bunker? Your lings are going to waddle in. These Zerglings are going to be dead before they even get past the front, get past the wall off because they're slow lings. They're never going to surround this bunker. Oh, man. I mean, the CC's taking some damage. The only reason INnoVation's not moving it is because he's waiting for it to finish into an orbital, though. So he knows it's fine as he does lose the medevac to some corrosive piles. Rogue is up 62 army supply, but to 33, but I just don't see it. These lings run in. One bunker goes down. Okay, there's still 2 left. Siege tanks on the high ground. 2 siege tanks on the high ground. The defensive position is way too much. And Rogue's going to type out that GG to give INnoVation game number 1. And I know I went on a little bit of a rant about this YouTube guy that I got in an argument with, but I think it's a really good indicator because honestly, Rogue was kind of okay here. What he messed up on, I think, was basically just not... Well, obviously he chose to all in, and I actually think he maybe could have chose to say... Instead, go for maybe macro. Obviously, he has no third hatchery. You would have had to take that up. But obviously, if you choose to macro, you have those things on the way anyways. So, I actually didn't mind this. I like the idea from Rogue. But obviously, INnoVation's defense is too good. I think the overall initial defense is the one thing to focus on. I think it was all right for Rogue, right? He really stopped bunkers getting up. He lost some mine time. It was kind of even, right? Like, he didn't completely shut it down early. He didn't find the racks soon enough to stop racks from building. But it wasn't like, oh my god, you've lost 8 drones. Oh my god, you're down so many workers. Oh my god, all of these bad things. So, INnoVation able to take the first game off of that in the end. Just a good defense, obviously, to close it out and to go up 1-0 in the best of 7. Second map here between INnoVation and Rogue. In the top right-hand side, maybe hoping his opponent keeps the barracks at home going into our second game. This is our blue Zerg player down by 1. It is Rogue up against the red Terran. In the bottom left-hand side, INnoVation with the proxy 2 racks to get this going. So yeah, it's kind of cut short a little bit of my intro last time, but obviously really looking forward to casting this series for you guys on YouTube. Thank you so much for all the support lately. Do keep subscribing. We've passed 17,000. We're working towards 20,000 YouTube subs. We're getting so close. This is kind of like I said, I'm approaching this as a YouTube cast, but I am live on Twitch. Hi, Twitch chat. But I'm not reading chat or anything. This is fully designed to be a YouTube cast, just streamed on Twitch because I got nothing else to stream today between GSL and Red Bull. So, yeah. Just want to quickly say as well, it's been really cool. I've actually mentioned this in my last video I did for YouTube, and there's actually some success on it, but I was talking about the YouTube memberships. There's a little join button beneath the video, and basically you can pay it's like a Twitch subscription, but on YouTube. You can become a YouTube member, and you get a little Wardy logo next to your name when you comment, and you get some benefits and stuff. The big one, basically, you can get access to our Discord server. You'll have a YouTube members tag. And from there, you actually get access to the replay packs. So it's another way for you guys to get the replay packs also. So consider checking that out if you want to support. I know a lot of people on YouTube lately have been asking how they can support. And that's obviously a good way while staying on YouTube. As we get ourselves into this second map here, and we do see from Rogue the pool first. So already just playing a little bit safe. Like I was saying in the first game, he actually died to INnoVation in the GSL when he got proxy racks on this map. I believe INnoVation's racks were right over in this corner. And you can see Overlord scouting pattern, right? He comes right over here and really double checks this area. So Rogue's like, yeah, I'm not dying to the same thing twice. As INnoVation's not going to do the same thing twice anyways, though. He's opening very standard. Reaper in towards this command center now. He scouts with the SCV and gets to see the hatchery. And that means he knows that this is a pool first. So just going to be a little bit more careful. Reaper is off hunting for Zerglings around the edges of the map here. He got seen by the Overlord though, so it's unlikely those Lings are going to allow themselves to be found. As we do have the single Marine back at home and now into the reactor on the barracks to swap onto the factory very soon. There's a second gas on the way up as well, so we will be seeing a starport here in the near future, and we'll see what INnoVation wants to do off this. We've been seeing a lot. I mean, Cloak Banshee really has just come back into the game lately. It's just been it's just like welcome back, you know. Hellion Banshee has been a very popular style. We've seen a lot less battle cruisers, although we do see some BCs sometimes still when people want to play mech, and that's not something INnoVation has completely moved away from. So that is still something INnoVation could bring out at some stage, I'm sure. Maybe, especially in like a best of 7. I'd be kind of surprised to not see mech at some stage, right? So we'll keep our eyes out for that. Zen is it's an okay mech map, but I think something like Eternal Empire works a lot better for mech. So if he is going to, you know, use that at some point in this series, maybe not so much here on Zen. As we do have our starport coming up, is going to be finishing up in a couple moments' time. There's a few Hellions just popping out, Marines coming down the bottom. And as the starport finishes, we're going to be seeing a medevac starting to build. So that's going to be the choice from Inno, so no BCs. Really likes this medevac at the moment and getting in towards this Hellion drop. So INnoVation staying true to that at the moment. Let's just see the armory dropping down as well. So yeah, he's actually going to really... So this time it's a medevac, but not with the intention of just dropping the Hellions. This time he's going for the straight-up Hellbat attack. So Hellbat attack, it's going to be the 420, as he will be moving across the map very soon. This hits at about the 420 marker. As you do see these couple queens from Rogue coming out over the right-hand side, getting ready to defend. Now this was pull first. That doesn't really have too much of an impact on... Not anything too much right now. He's sitting on 4 queens. Next one about to pop, so his queen count should be good. It really just comes down to kind of having the preparation a little bit in terms of units, and a lot of the time just micro on the queens as well. This Reaper doesn't go down just yet. It has a grenade. You want to use that grenade well, because you can absolutely use it in a way where you can actually bop the queens forwards into the Hellbats and Marines and really maximize the damage you get out of it. As this Reaper leading the charge in. There's the grenade, bops a few queens to the side. A few Marines get lifted up away from those Zerglings as the Hellbats, they don't quite know where they want to go. They're going to come back towards this right-hand side where 2 reinforcing Hellions are going to show up. The medevac now being target fired needs to pull away and will keep itself alive for just a little bit longer, trying to get a bit more healing out. Now the queen pops on the 3rd base, and that will be the shutdown on the medevac, which means these Hellbats will really start dying this time. And he gets a couple more Lings. He's off creep. He might actually save these couple Hellbats. That'd be really nice, just so you have 4 Hellions going up to 6. Most of them into Hellions and actually loses one just as he loses the HP bonus. But yeah, he's going to be on 6 Hellions as this factory now can move up and make way for the barracks. And it just gives you still that little bit of map control, even though you've lost a few units here. In terms of resources lost, this is actually not so bad for you as INnoVation. You forced a lot of Lings out. You've kept the work accounts very similar. 3rd CC now on the way. This is fine. The biggest issue is maybe the fact that Rogue got these Evo chambers up early. And now he's going to have very quick upgrades, while INnoVation is going to be very much so lacking on the engineering base. They are still yet to start here, basically. Still waiting for those engineering bases to start up as 1-1 melee upgrades coming in from Rogue. And the Lair on the way up too, so we'll see exactly what kind of style he wants to play. See if he wants to go into some Mutalisks, see if he wants to play some Hydras, see if he just wants to play Baneland Speed and Pureling Bane. That's obviously been very popular as of late as well. This Liberator around the top side shows up for 2 drones right from the get-go. It's going to end up leaving again. And there's another Liberator. It's a double Lib build here. I guess you only really build a medevac early, so you have quite a lot of gas to work with, so double liberator can work. As you see, this one will have to unsiege relocate. One in the main base is trying to get an overload, but there's a spore right on the edge here, so it shouldn't this liberator be able to chase for too long. This INnoVation just going to pull those back. Of course, the great thing about these liberators, as always, if you're able to keep them alive, you know, as long as you're able to pay attention to them, you can often keep them alive for a very long time and really get a lot out of them. So this is really nice. Sieged up on the 4th base, shoots the drone that's trying to make its way over there. Rogue realizes and will take a little while to get there, just because he does have to wander just that little bit off creep to get there. There's another drone coming across. Queen's moving through. If he target fires, okay, he's going to unsiege. It's nice as well because you can save the liberator, especially off creep here. Obviously able to pull away to the right side very, very quickly. Some more Hellions and Marines just out through the center. Going to keep making their way over to the far right here. And that Spire about halfway done here from Rogue, so getting that Spire up and running with the few extra Banes still morphing. The Baneling Nest really going to be useful here for that Baneling speed as well. Then with the Spire on the way, really does want to go and play towards those Mutalisks. 1-1 against 0-0 right now. INnoVation with the few Hellbats to help him out as he stims back maybe a little bit late. Honestly, clumped up on the Hellbats too. So the first Banelings actually have a very good time, and I think this is a complete shutdown. Rogue's now going to find a few more Marines, and yeah, this really didn't work out at all for INnoVation, just running into the Zerg meat grinder there. And Rogue is able to push INnoVation back with ease to start this defense. And as long as running through the center, they are going to go grab a Marine. So Marine will go down. 2 melee upgrades coming up. Baneling speed still on the way on the Bane Nest, and obviously when Bane speed kicks in, we might start to see a bit more aggression out of Rogue after pushing these units back. Some attacks that might aim their way towards mineral lines and so on. More Mutalisks in production. 6 more barracks on the way. Combat shields about to complete. 2 upgrades coming into play on the engineering base. And those 2 medevacs will load up. INnoVation realizing he needs to do something, so he's going to start dropping, but not just to clean out creep spread and anything. This is a drop heading straight toward the main. He knows he needs to do some sort of serious damage here or something to at least start pulling himself back into this, else he will be in trouble. So that is exactly what he will start to do as he goes up this top side. Going to move in towards the main here in a couple moments. Couple overlords there, though, able to keep the medevacs, or to spot them, able to spot the medevacs coming in, as a lot of the Lings going to move up in towards the main base. These Marines are going to be able to get these couple overlord kills, which is, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but is it enough? Well, no. I mean, you're still kind of in a bit of a rough position where Rogue is already, you know, 4 bases going up to 5 Mutalisks now arriving in your main base, and apparently INnoVation had no idea about this, so he's already losing a whole bunch of SCVs to these Mutalisks, and that's obviously very painful. I mean, 7 workers down, and we're already talking about INnoVation being in a tough spot, and now these Mutalisks, okay, down to the natural, are going to find a few more SCVs. This is really good damage, to the point where obviously you're just a few moments away perhaps from having a big Ling Bane army on 2-2 running at you as INnoVation, and you don't really have a way to defend that. This is 15 SCVs as the Mutalisks micro for Widowmine and 1 more. Yeah, I mean, this is really a scenario where it's just like now 2-2's about to kick in. You've got Ling Bane on the map that can start rolling at INnoVation as well. And you even got a Hive on the way too, right? So everything's going right for Rogue this time around as he's, again, down by 1. But really making a good effort of making this tied up in one apiece with this game number 2. A lot more Ling Bane still out on the far right-hand side. INnoVation bringing some units up through the center. Marines, Widowmine, a couple Hellbats as the Bane's going to keep on rolling forwards. A couple Marines do go down. All of these Banes going to roll forwards here. Widowmine's getting picked off as well. Zerglings of Rogue are going to go darting across the left side. They're going to go, I mean, it doesn't matter if these depots are lowered or not. I mean, this is kind of interesting. Depots still being lowered here. Keep an eye on the mini-map because obviously the main army might be looking to fight in a moment or two from Rogue as he does a lot of counter damage. He's going to get blown up by Widowmines here. Those Zerglings get destroyed. Widowmine finds a whole bunch of kills across the map then. The Bio pushing forwards and Rogue really needs just some Ling Bane here. He's got some Banes to the top. He's got Lings out on the left side. We'll see if they want to continue with another round of a run by. The units screaming in at the moment. Obviously just want to get a few in at a time. Try and set those Widowmines off. Unfortunately for Rogue, he only managed to get 1 of them off. He will kill another one before much happens. The next 2 don't hit anything but a couple of single Zerglings. And now the Banes come crashing into this. The Mutas are starting to chase for medevacs. However, reinforcements showing up to give INnoVation a bit more life in this push and still coming in towards this 3rd base. Sorry, I say 3rd, I mean 4th, of course. Speeders are going to start targeting down medevacs now, as this time the Banes reach the Marines with ease, and the reinforcements are not here. And INnoVation won't stick around to watch his medevacs be killed by Mutalisks. He'll just type out and give Rogue this game to tying us up 1-1 in our best of 7 between INnoVation and Rogue. Entering Purity and Industry for Game 3 of the series. In the right-hand side, our Red Terran player here is INnoVation, taking on our Blue Zerg in the top 12 o'clock location, Rogue. Kind of a weird time for Rogue, I guess, where he just got knocked out early in the GSL. So round of 24 exit for him. So he will not be playing at all, really. He'll not really be playing. What does Rogue now play in? I guess just online events. Now, Rogue does play in online events. He's not like a super grinder like someone like Solo, who plays in, I'd say, the majority of them. But he does play in his, his fair share. He's not a stranger to WardiTV tournaments and so on. So I'm sure we'll see like a few show matches out of him. I'm sure we'll see him in a few events. I'm sure we'll pick up a few more replays of him and probably cast over here on the YouTube channel at some point as well. As we see this Overlord of Rogue continuing down to the bottom right-hand side, a hatchery dropping down in the natural expansion, and the spawning pool going to be finishing in just a few moments as well. Drone continuing up, and this rack's going to be completing momentarily. Here on Purity and Industry. Now, this is, you can kind of tell which map picks are whose. So, INnoVation, I think, picked Nightshade, very good Terran map typically to kind of push on and so on. And then it seemed to go to Rogue's map pick for Zen is not the kind of the super go-to map for Zergs, but picks it over some others. Okay, I can get behind it. And then you come back to Purity and Industry, and that's what really seals the deal for me. But these are these are INnoVation's map picks, because Purity, another map where you've got a lot of bases, you can take a lot of these bases very easily. You just can push straight through the center. There's not a lot of counter-attacking potential from the Zerg player. And so it just works very, very well for the Terran. So we'll see what Rogue maybe has to do about that, as you see these couple lings are just going to continue their way out across down the bottom side. As you see the Reaper coming up and getting ready to go. Zergling's taking some damage. See that Zergling gets picked off as well. Again, a couple extra queens continuing out, as we'll see the factory coming down in the main base from INnoVation. So again, that factory up and running. Refinery number 2 finishes off over to the side. And again, this Reaper just continuing up is going to hop into the natural, up into the main. And again, this queen just wandering out, as the Reaper will be taking a moment or so. Moving back around, going to come down, is going to drop a grenade and force the drones to pop around a little bit. Queen's coming to push this back. So the starport comes into play. We'll see INnoVation getting aggressive here early. We'll see what he wants to do. Obviously, this is a map where, okay, so he's actually going to go for the third CC, so he's going to slow down his first 2 Hellions. And then he's going to go Tech Lab on the rack side. Imagine this is likely to be a Cloaked Banshee. And use that for safety, especially with the fact that he's gone for the super fast third base. This couple of Hellions are a little bit slower. INnoVation just cutting a couple of corners here. Again, that third CC being so quick really is the real kind of big part of this, I suppose, as starport swaps on over toward the Tech Lab. And there is the Cloaked Banshees on the way out. So obviously, again, keeps you very safe here early. A good way to deal some damage and some harassment in the early stages. You can get across and put some damage out. You can get across and deal some hits. As you see a grenade going down, and a few drones going to get bopped up into the sky. As the link speed comes in, that Reaper gets shut down, and again, a few more drones just in production. As our Banshee continues up, and yeah. So far, so good. Nice for the Reaper to get back in, right? Get another little scout. Just double check what's going on again. There's a few things going in after the rocks here. So the rocks taking quite some damage, as we do have our Star Cloak on the way up now from the starport. Again, Cloak started, second Banshee underway. Stimpack is continuing in on the main base, so just going to be seeing a couple of extra barracks here. All of this Bioplayer getting ready to go. The Banshee going to make its way out through the top side of the map, and Overlord going to see this immediately. So Rogue is in the know as to what's going on. So immediately knows what is up as our Banshee's continuing around the top. And just going to be seeing our Hellion across into the middle of the map. It can go through and pick off a Zergling on its way. So INnoVation having a pretty good time here. Is going to get that Zergling. And 18 more Zerglings about to pop, as the extra evolution chambers are going to be coming up on the top left-hand side. Banshee makes its way into the main base and is going to get a couple of drone kills already. So 4 drones down. Banshee does a very good job of this as the 4 drones get picked off. And now an Overlord about to finish up. This stim pack upgrade from INnoVation is still coming through as the Marine production is going to be ramping up. And this time INnoVation's upgrades are going to be in line with the Zergs. Of course, no surprises there because he didn't go for any sort of Hellbat attack early or anything in particular to really, force him to be later on the upgrades. But it was also worth mentioning that because it is melee upgrades early, you are seeing a later lair here from the Zerg, and so later Balin speed, and then a later Spire or texture structure as well. So that's something that was kind of true in the last game as well, but it didn't matter so much because INnoVation was kind of playing a little bit behind this time. Maybe you see something of an effect of that as these Banshees finding a really good little position in the middle here. They get out of range of the detection again, and it's actually going to hunt for one Banshee. Forces a transfusion from the Queens. Obviously hunting for a Queen and not for the Banshee. The Banshees are not hunting each other. But yeah, Banshee's doing a really good job, just able to push those Queens back out of any sort of detection range. That lair is only halfway done. The Baneling nest only just now starting. I'm a little bit worried about this 1-1 attack from INnoVation. His combat shields will be done for it as well. He's going to be able to push from the forward position, so he's already going to be pretty far forwards to start. Those Banshees around the far left-hand side with the Baneling nest about halfway along here as well. The 2 Banshees coming up. Come straight in, and already a few drones going down, so that's 3 workers killed off. Right from the get-go, Spore Core will relocate again. It's really nice damage throughout. This is now 11 workers killed. And it's just adding up over time, right? And you lose a drone here, you lose a drone there. It really does all add up as these couple medevacs continuing across to the upper side. Armory is dropping down from INnoVation. So getting that armory up and running. As again, our Hellions continuing across here. As the Marine's just going to be unloading and just going in after the rest of these Zerglings. Going to go after the Queens. Things coming through a little bit further. And the Marine's doing pretty quick work of getting rid of these Queens as well. Just no Banelings or anything ready. This is really bad for Rogue, obviously. He's just losing Zerglings by the second. And I mean, the Queens are staying alive, but they're not getting any damage onto the medevacs. The healing has just been consistent. Finally, medevacs starting to drop down. INnoVation probably loses a good chunk of these Marines. He's going to fly out through a slow zone, which obviously means you don't get away very quickly. But still, what he's killed is obviously pretty crazy. He just killed 64 Zerglings. Lost 15 Marines. So that's basically, 4 Lings for every Marine there. Very efficient for INnoVation. Lost a few Hellions on the map elsewhere at the same time. But, yeah, overall, obviously looking very good as he's kind of getting in position, just looking to hunt down another drone or two. These Banshees, low HP, so can't stick around forever, but again, being such an annoyance as now INnoVation is getting a major push through the center of the map, straight through the middle. Drones still dropping down, and Rogue's numbers are disappearing. As this hatchery will go down. I'm just going to be seeing the INnoVation army just doing a great job now. Some SCVs actually went down. A Ling run by in the third base was actually somewhat successful. I mean, Rogue needs a bit more than that, though. And that's his issue. He needs way more damage if he's going to find his way back into this one. Trading badly, down in workers, base is being denied. He is in trouble as an Overlord gets picked off as this attack from INnoVation just continues on forwards. These few Banes are going to try and counterattack into that third base mineral line by keeping the pressure up at the front. Let's see what these Banelings can do. INnoVation's Marine sees it, and they are just going to crash in. They're going to get a lot of SCVs. Meanwhile, across the map, this fight actually started up, and Marines did dive in. In the end, they're just going to lift up and leave, go back to the siege tank line or reinforcements in general, and just get ready to go again, because right now INnoVation has zero reason to really slow this down at all. Has zero reason to slow this down as tank's going to go sieging up over to the side. You're going to see a couple of medevacs from INnoVation hopping up in toward the main base. They're going to move through, and I mean, it's just a very difficult position to deal with, because if you move forwards to clean this up, the tanks are going to get there. Still Marines on the low ground as well, which are protecting themselves from the Banelings, and As the Banes move up in towards the main, the tanks are still on the low ground to help, and yeah, the Banelings are kind of just on their own as well, so they're just kind of going in one or two at a time. Just left up, Queens make a pretty decent snipe down, but INnoVation is just putting on way too much pressure, and Rogue is not going to survive this, as INnoVation will take game 3 of the series, going up 2-1 to retake the lead after it all got tied. Our fourth map going to be Golden Wall, as you have in the bottom left-hand side. The blue Terran player is INnoVation, taking on our red Zerg in the bottom right-hand side. From Jinair Green Rings, it is Rogue. Fourth game of the series is going to start with some good old proxy racks yet again. Oh, didn't you guys just know it? And don't you just love it? This just doesn't stop happening, does it? This really just doesn't stop happening. As INnoVation comes across, barracks number 1 drops down, barracks number 2 is about to drop down, and Rogue's Overlord is actually heading directly towards this. So Rogue did lose the first game, which was proxy racks, and this is a really nice scout. This is such an early scout, actually. I wonder if he does pull the drones to try and delay it a little bit. It definitely is a possibility if he pulls like 3 or 4 drones right now. There we go, 3, 4, 5 drones right now. So he's very serious about stopping the second barracks, at least, from finishing up. So he'll pull the 5 drones. Now, honestly, he's actually going to pull 6 drones. Wow. It is kind of a far away kind of couple of racks from the main base, at least. Obviously, it's fairly close to the natural. It's one of those bases where the main mineral line feels like an eternity away from the natural ramp or so. I was going to see one of these SCVs gets pushed away. The other one, actually, did he already kill one? Did I miss it when I was looking back? No? No, it's just going home. Yeah, INnoVation's just like, screw this, I'm going home. Oh, one Marine pops out. The other SCV starts to back away. He's just going to start a Reaper, and he's just going to turn this into a Reaper opening. So, in a way, because there's been so many drones pulled, 6 drones, I almost wonder if it's not even that bad for INnoVation. He's going to take the eco lead at the moment. Now, of course, Rogue already has his hatchery on the natural finished up. Those 6 drones are back to mining now. And INnoVation obviously invests a lot of money into a rack, so then cancels. Yes, he gets some of that money back, but it's money spent early that's not elsewhere. His own CC is late. I mean, this income advantage is somewhat outdone by this income advantage Rogue had when the initial proxy rack setup was going before he pulled the drones. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a hater of the position. It's obviously a little bit funky. It always will be when someone goes for proxy racks that gets kind of found, and they have to halt it kind of halfway through, and they actually don't commit to it. But I feel like it's playable for INnoVation. I think playable is a lot of the time what you're looking for in these kind of scenarios. As we have got our Reaper just coming out and hanging out the front here, Queen pressing forwards, and just going to be seeing a couple extra drones on the way in from Rogue. Yeah, just going to be seeing the Queen actually making its way up to the top side. Maybe that's why he wants to take the 3rd hatchery, and he just wants to make sure he's got a Queen there to protect the drone so the Reaper can't delay it for too long. So that's going to bring this drone up, move that over, and drop that down into position. Feelings running over to the side. Reaper is gonna go up in the main base, mostly just looking for a scout, right? Try and figure out what is Rogue up to. Gas scout is nice. Only 2 workers on it, so not really much to worry about. No roach roaring to be seen. Reaper sees the full main base, finally goes down. Very good information for INnoVation to work off of from here. Tech lab dropping on the starport. And there's going to be a tech lab on the barracks as well. This SCV back down to the natural expansion, and a 3rd CC starting from INnoVation. So, yeah, for all of this, all the weird ways this game started up, we're going into a very standard game now, as we do have our lair from Rogue morphing in on the main base. 3rd hatchery is going to be finishing in a few moments, and Cloak, Banshee on the way up from INnoVation too. I'm intrigued about the lair then. It looks as though he's going to go for a Spire, taking the extra gases already on the natural expansion as well. So it looks like he wants to go for a Spire and go in towards fast middle. Let's try and control the game from there. Mid is actually quite nice in this map. There's a lot of, it gives you kind of the ability to go from top side, bottom side. You can escape to the bottom side or kind of like away a lot of the time, so you're never really in trouble if the mutas getting penned in. And yeah, obviously a set of bases which you can jump between mineral lines very easily. You can go from here to here to here very easily. If the Terran takes the gold base, then the mutas are great sitting behind the gold base like here. So yeah, I'd imagine Aspire not a bad choice as the Hellions chase away out through the top side. Nice catch in the end from the Lungs, I want to say, but actually doesn't catch those Hellions at all. Those Hellions are able to slip away as the Spire drops down into the back of the natural. INnoVation's Hellions continuing through to the bottom side, over to the right. A couple more Hellions coming across. There's these couple queens from Rogue just pressing forwards, and the Hellions taking some damage. Rogue's drone's going to go up to the third base as well. So moving that over into position, a couple of drones going to get onto that extractor. And that stim pack from INnoVation going to be finishing up very, very soon. So getting that stim pack completed, we'll be able to get on the map with some of these Marines as well, perhaps. Although Starport is not on a reactor yet, so I guess it might take a little while. See what our Banshee squad does then. The two of them coming around this bottom side, seeing where they can go. Just gonna see this queen coming through, dropping the inject down on the main base. Well, does he know that this queen's gonna be in so much trouble in a second? Kills a drone. The queen's like, well, which way do I go? Looked about 3 different directions there before it decided to run to the mineral line. Well, it keeps itself alive as the Overseer is out, of course. Faster lair this game. It does mean you're behind on upgrades as Rogue, so a lot of what you're looking for here is to usually kind of, really kind of with the Mutilates, hold the Terran player back, deal a lot of harassing damage, make up for what will be slower upgrades as these Banshees back out up into the center. A few Zerglings hanging around the front, and just going to be seeing the Queen coming in. Banshee is going to take some hits, and one of them goes down. So unfortunately, these Banshees not going to find as much as they did last game. The meters, it's actually kind of nice that the Banshees getting picked off already, because it now means Rogue can go straight across the map with the Mutilisks rather than having to go chase the Banshees down first. Come straight into this gold base. Missile turret killed, and SCV's already in some trouble. So 4 SCVs go down as the Banshee is still over here. Got a couple of extra kills before it was got to this point now. He's actually going to find a siege tank that was building. It's a really nice catch. INnoVation built-in tanks. Might have been looking for like a big kind of like just Marine tank timing across the map. If you're setting up on this gold, pushing across is that much faster because you're already in a very forward position. So maybe that's what INnoVation's looking for here. Either way, losing siege tanks is obviously not going to help you with that at all. In fact, that's going to be pretty terrible for you, as these Mutilisks of Rogue still joining up on the bottom side. Flying forwards already, and SCVs and Mules are going to be in some trouble right away as the missile turret goes down, and these SCVs and Mules are just going to be chased away. So 8, 9, 10, 11 workers going down. Crazy damage. Okay, well, these Mutilisks are essentially going to force INnoVation to be pretty all in across the map. He now has got to push that up. Remember, he's got the advantages right now. There's no Balin speed and there's no upgrades. So he's up 1-1. And he's against slow Balings, and maybe if there's ever a time to make it happen, it would kind of be now for INnoVation as he presses forward. Going to catch a few of these Banes before they morph, but here come the Mutas. They're going to swoop in from the back. They don't get the siege tank right away. So now the Medivacs are going to lift and load on the bottom side, but maybe they can just sit and fight these Mutas because of the 1-1 Marines. I mean, Rogue is going to pick a fight. I actually don't like it. He's going to clean up, yes, but loses quite a few Mutilisks in the process. Actually, he's only lost 2. I thought it was like 3 or 4. Okay, well, obviously it's not that bad in the end. He kills all the Medivacs off, so yeah, I thought that was a little bit worse for Rogue than it actually was. As these Mutilisks continue out over this left-hand side. Overlord took a few shots of damage. Missile turret in the main base gets picked off as well. SCV going down with it. The Mutas have been real MVP so far. The damage they've been able to do has obviously been pretty crazy, and now getting a good few Marines, and there's just nothing that can hold on over here. Another siege tank now as well. Medivacs that had Marines inside very nearly going down. INnoVation at least able to keep that alive as he does try and start up his 2-2 upgrades. If there's one way back into this, it might just be through some very efficient trading a little further down the line as into the main base. This missile turret will survive a couple volleys, but now the MCVs here are just in so much trouble, and Rogue is just picking INnoVation apart. That's 11 workers killed. His rogue will come out through the bottom side once again. And oh my god, he's going to be back on the gold. Okay, at least there's some Marines here this time. It's down by 25 SCVs. INnoVation is definitely struggling a little bit as these Zerglings come running in. A siege tank goes down. Marines taking some hits. All of these Zerglings running out up to the top side. I mean, very similar to one of the earlier games you saw where... well, the other game that Rogue won, basically, where he's put himself in a very good position. And realistically here, he's just kind of a Ling Bane maxed out away from kind of storming and winning it. The one thing I will say, though, is he's down on upgrades, right? So in the previous game, Rogue won, he was very far ahead on upgrades. And once he was on 2-2, he really did just, like, make Ling Bane an attack, and he killed him. This time, obviously, the upgrades are a little bit worse. Right now, they're still even, so these are not bad fights. Don't get me wrong. As you see, the Banes rolling into some Marines. The siege tank going down. The thing is, the Ling Bane distracts the Marines, so the Mutas can come into the mineral line, and they do very well there, and finding a bunch of medevacs that have cut the corner off from the rest of the army. That's 4 dead medevacs. And now he knows the army's going towards the gold base, so guess where Rogue goes? Back towards the main. Talk about pulled apart by Mutalisks. This was truly a pulling apart by Mutalisks. These Mutalisks have done... These Mutalisks have basically soloed the game. Like, they can't close it out on their own, but they did the majority of this. As, these meters coming through, a few mules dropping down, extra lings coming in, the Marines still stemming. It's continuing through and just going to be seeing the siege tank will get picked off. 7 SCVs going down as our lings continuing forwards. They're going to get on top of this army again. So cleaning all of this out, GG is going to be called, and Rogue is going to find game number 4 of this best of 7. And that is going to be Rogue. Tying it up for the second time. Second time he fell behind a map. Second time he bounces back and just ties it up just like that. Hey, hell yeah. Rogue making this a real good series. We're guaranteed at least 2 more maps here as we get into game 5 in a moment or two. As we get tied up once again, we go to the top right-hand side of Eternal Empire. Our blue Terran is INnoVation. As in the bottom left, a red Zerg Rogue. Game number 5 of this series. Which has been a pretty quick series if you think about it, right? Like, we haven't had like any super short games. I guess the first map was maybe, what, like 7-ish minutes long? We haven't had any games which have been like, you know, 3-4 minutes. They've all been like 10 to 12-ish. There's been like 1 or 2 exceptions of that so far. It's funny because for me, this is like such typical like Korean... This is just what I expect out of Korea. Like, whenever I do, I always talk about this sometimes in the live streams where... basically, like, when you do, like, European groups, they always last longer than Korean groups because the Koreans just kill each other and end the game in, like, 10 to 12 minutes. And the Europeans are out here, when they could kill the other guy off in 10 minutes, they manage to find, you know, they manage not to, or they just don't, and they play for the longer game. And it's funny because it always is true that the Europeans do take much longer to close their games out, and hence their groups take a lot longer to play when we do tournaments. So, yeah, for me, this is like such a typical, like, oh, it's just Korean matchups, right? It's like 10, 12 minutes, and they're like, cool, you know, one of us is dead and one of us is winning. And that's about it as we get ourselves going in this game. No proxy Drax here from INnoVation, of course. At this point in INnoVation, both the games he has lost opened up with proxied barracks. No, that's not true, sorry. He opened one game that he lost with the Hellbats, right? So he won a game with proxy Drax and he lost a game with proxy Drax, although it wasn't really due to the proxies. Yeah, sorry, I had another game in my mind. As you see this SCV out the front and now just pulling back as the Reaper continues to cross down the bottom left side. So this Reaper going to be coming through to have a look in towards the natural expansion. Try and pick away at a drone or so. As you see these Zerglings coming around, a couple of CCs building. So we are going to be having a 3CC build order this time from INnoVation. So obviously throughout the course of a best of 7, lots of chance to switch it up. And this is going to be the switch up by going for the early 3 command center. Lots of economy in the early game. a map where you're pretty safe for doing this. You're not gonna, there's not a lot of attacks that really come in to try and kill you early. It's not a map you get roach rushed on very often at all. As you just see this Reaper on the bottom side, Zerglin speed from Rogue setting up in the main base. So getting that underway. As you do see Rogue just going to be coming up this right side with the Overlord. And just trying to get a scout in toward the main base. There's a couple of extra wrecks drop down. So this is an interesting setup from INnoVation. This is not regular, this is not normal. This is going to be 2 and 3 racks instead of a factory. Usually when you go 3cc, you still add a factory on, you still end up going in towards some Hellions and stuff like that, but obviously not the case at the moment, as a couple of engineering bays are going to drop down the back of this main mineral line. Tech lab drops on the racks and just going to be seeing the SCVs and the mules working on the natural expansion. Yeah, this is kind of crazy because the thing is for Rogue as well, I guess he will see this Overlord sneaking up the right side. This Overlord scout is so good because if he doesn't see that these extra racks are so early, then actually he's like, wait a second, what? In a way, I wonder if he's almost mind-gamed about it being a 3cc though. We'll see what his reaction is, and that might tell us a little bit more, because that is not a normal time for a second barracks to be finishing. So there's so much you could read into this for, or read into this by, and I think I've actually got to be pretty careful here as Rogue, else you might be preparing for the wrong thing. Anyways, engineering bays are down and starting 1-1 upgrades as Rogue gets his own evolution chamber started. What's crazy for INnoVation is it just means he's going to have no activity on the map until Stim is done. And even then, there's not going to be medevacs up, right? So even then, are you going to be out on the map? It means this creep spread is very free just to expand in all different directions. There's going to be a lot of good creep on the map here from Rogue. Yeah, there's definitely a couple of things to be concerned about if you're an INnoVation fan with this build. There's a reason you usually open Hellions. You're generally very weak to Link Floods here as well because you just build Marines early on, but Rogue didn't react with a Link Flood or anything along those lines. He's making some Zerglings now. I think he's still not quite sure about just what's going on. I love these Lings over the right side, and the Reaper is just going to pull back over the left, so he will be pulling away. 7 extra drones in production. The lab building on the main base. As these Zerglings passing by the watchtower, just going to see our Reaper of INnoVation up towards the 3rd, so it's going to pull itself all the way up here. As you do see the Zerglings of Rogue continuing through, they are going to be able to grab a Reaper, so Reaper goes down. These Marines of INnoVation still coming through as well, as we've got the Zerglings continuing to come around this top side. So they're going to come around the top, down the left. Again, these few Queens of Rogue just pressing forwards and a lot of creep spread coming down. Because there's been no pressure. Now these Lings are going to run in. I mean, they can't really run into all of these Marines. But at the same time, INnoVation's not really done anything to push any creep back. So Rogue should just be like, okay, cool. You're not going to push any creep back. This is fine for me. One Marine goes down here as the Lings fail to really get anything more surrounded. And so Rogue just takes a 4th base. I mean, now we're going to have combat shields about to finish. The first medevac's on the way out. And I guess finally the first push from INnoVation, but I'm not convinced that this is any earlier than what you might usually see. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's obviously early, maybe off of a stronger economy. To have this many Marines this early is a bit different, but I'm not convinced that that's necessarily a win for INnoVation, just because of all the creep control and the map control that Rogue's been able to gain for absolutely 0 cost. He sets up some Lings and Banes on the left side, so he's already thinking about run-bys and dealing economic damage. We do have 2 medevacs already loading up and pushing out onto the map. I like these Marines here, just in case it's an earlier lair and an earlier spire. INnoVation scouting has left a lot to be desired this game. Recently scanned in the main, so the lair and a macro hatch. That's about it. So just preparing just in case some meters fly in, or even like a dropper load or something crazy. You never know, right? So a good preparation there, as he does have his first 2 medevacs for now. 60 Marines coming across the map as Lings and some Banes up on the top side, looking to try and press forwards in towards this wall off. So looking to bust this down. Marines over here will just get some creep chambers, probably have to just pull back from there, especially as they go deal with this, although actually just the depots and then the Zerglings will do nothing against the amount of Marines behind it. Is there just 0 factory production here? INnoVation is literally just producing mass bio. There was a while, you remember when Frozen Temple was in the map, guys? Ethan used to like to play mass bio, no factory units, because he used to like to play just mass bio. And there's like 3 avenues of attack on this map, and he'd just be able to, like, the way the map was laid out, you could just load up in the medevacs, fly through the middle of the map, and be on the different avenue, different side of the map completely in like a matter of seconds. And it was really fun to watch. Was it good? I mean, yes, because Youtham was really good, and obviously INnoVation is really good too, don't get me wrong, but it was like so much work because you've got 0 splash damage helping you out. I mean, INnoVation, pure bio, let's go. He's on 8 racks. No tank support, no mine support. It's just completely different. As these units coming down this bottom side, a few Marines on the top already pushing these Zerglings away, so a few Lings going down. INnoVation continuing to stem forwards, is going to get another creep teamer or so, splitting up these Marines as Balin's crashing in. Not really doing too much damage as the rest of the bio pressing forwards as well. There's Hatchery in a little bit of trouble. I'm going to see another Banelane being sniped down. Lings and Banes continue to run forwards into this. I mean, INnoVation is just going to keep on splitting backwards. Even the Marauders in the front to do the tanking. Does he have enough Marines? Well, he'll lift up and leave for the moment. Run by again, gets a depot. Some others might burn down. He doesn't get the repairs on all of them in time. Even has a call down supply depot or 2 in this wall off. Amazing that they haven't been the targets. Obviously, you've got 8 racks, so you're just pumping units at the moment. As they do have the army coming all the way down the bottom side. A lot of Lings running across. They're going to get through, so the run by is going to be big here. Rogue are going to get in towards the mineral lines. 8 SCVs, 10, 11 already going down. The other Lings back over the right-hand side. Marauders getting surrounded a little bit. This is obviously really bad. Losing a lot of these SCVs. Because this kills your momentum. And obviously this entire style, usually we talk about like Lingbane Muta versus Bio being kind of like momentum based. Being pure bio, this is all about momentum. You're meant to just never stop attacking. And now you've lost the SCVs to keep up the production to keep attacking as well. This looks really, really bad for INnoVation. Some Burrowed Banelings here for Rogue. Might be a good trap as well. I got a handful of units. As that bio continues across, Marines and Marauders gonna stem. Some of these Banes being picked away at. Just gonna see this bio force continue to fight, and the rest of these Banes continue to roll forwards. A lot of Banelings going down. As you see these couple of Queens continue to be pushed away. There's a Ling counterattack going on across the map in the upper right-hand side. So that's continuing as this bio force still trying to fight. We'll look at the counterattack in a second. We've got these Banes. This is pretty much cleaned up, I guess. These Lings, they actually mostly just got a couple of depots and they're coming back home. It's nothing too crazy. I mean, obviously this attack is about to be cleaned up as well. So now these Lings are like, oh, well, maybe we can just hit another mineral line. Keep this damage going. So over to the third base they run, looking to see what can be done. Marines and Marauders running across, and those Lings are cornered in. Looks like he'll try and split them up and burrow them to force maybe a couple different scans, but the single scan picks up all of them. So good catch there. As INnoVation will be back out into the center of the map, so a lot more bio continuing over. Continue to just push down through this right-hand side. Some Zerglings of Rogue are going to be up to the top side of this as well, so continuing their own way around. Things continue to wander all over the place as the rest of the bio force from INnoVation is still looking to attack. Ling's going to hit this left-hand side, and I just feel like counterattack after counterattack is doing its job. And now we've got Ultras on the map, right? So behind all of this, just pure Ling Bane. The Hive came up, the Ultras Cavern was dropped, and here we are. I mean, no 3-3, no +3 carapace, but there's chitinous plating, and that alone should be enough to make these Ultras tanking. In fact, the Ultras alone are enough to make INnoVation type out GG and to give Rogue a game number 5. Now, actually, for the first time in this series, Rogue is going to be taking a lead. Obviously, he's always been down in the one evening the series up to be level once again. Finally, Rogue is able to strike 2 maps in a row, and now up in the series on match point. INnoVation needs to win the next one, else he is going to lose this show match for the $240 or so that they're playing for. Game number 6, and it's his final life. As in the top left-hand side, our red Terran player is INnoVation. As on match point, our blue Zerg is Rogue. Simulacrum will be our map, and we'll see what happens here. Just a reminder, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, that we are continuing to push towards our 20,000 YouTube subscriber goal. Honestly, the channel's doing really well the last couple of days. Turns out when you start putting some several videos up, you start getting loads of views. But it really has been doing great the last few days, and want to keep up this momentum, of course, and try and really push for that 20,000 goal. We're about 2,800 away, so if you don't already, do consider subscribing to the channel. We upload one video a day here, a mix of the best content from the stream and stuff that we obviously cast, mostly, just for YouTube even sometimes. So it really always is just high quality uploads, great games, great matches, and hopefully great casting. Of course, you can help us out as well just by liking the video, commenting down below. All those things obviously help as well. Let's see a couple of drones popping out. Extractor dropping down from Rogue in the main base, and that hatchery on the natural already placed. So hatch, gas, and pool against no proxy racks here. INnoVation, life on the line, is not going to risk it all on some proxied barracks. Here in game number 6. Maybe in game number 7. INnoVation's the kind of guy who game 7 will be like, you know what, I am just going to proxy racks for the win. He's like, God, I had to play 6 games against you already. I've used all my strategies. You know, what else am I meant to do? I'm just going to have to proxy racks. INnoVation's that kind of guy who will legitimately do this. He's a little bit of a funny fellow. But yeah, we'll see what we get to. As we have got this game 6 underway. Overlord making its way out across to the left-hand side. And the Overlord out on the right just chilling a little bit. A couple of queens coming up. Yeah, we've had a good variety of builds so far. And actually, I mean, I really feel like the style in that last game with the mass bio very different. Something we haven't seen for a while. I'm not sure if Eternal Empire is really the map to do it on, but you know, I can kind of get behind it, right? Like, I can kind of get behind it. It's a fun change up in a longer series. I really feel like a map like maybe Everdream might be nice, where you kind of have again like that middle section, and then like a section down the left and a section down the right, and then it's like what I was saying earlier about Frozen Temple, right? Then you can like lift the bio up and drop different directions and hit a couple different sides at the same time. I think that might be the way to try and play like pure bio in TvZ. Anyways, I mean, I'm not sure how serious INnoVation was about that build as much as he might have just been looking for, you know, a way to change it up, have a little bit of fun. And as we do see the 3rd CC dropping down in the main base. It's going to see the factory down onto the reactor, going to start up some Hellions and a starport on the way as well. So this is going to be just nice, fast 3CC. Obviously a bit different to last game because he actually has a factory this time, so there will be some Hellions up the front as well. As you do see our Reaper from INnoVation continuing out down the bottom side of the map. So jumping up in toward the main base. Going to be coming through and just going to be looking to see what's going on. A few Zerglings chasing. It's a nice Reaper grenade to pop a few drones out in a few different directions. But of course, mostly just getting the scout here, which is pretty standard, right? No lair here, no Roachron. Maybe a bit suspect of what's happening elsewhere. But the gas mining wasn't crazy. There's just the one gas in the main. I think a lot of this you can just presume as INnoVation. This is pretty normal. He's going to go Hellion Banshee after the 3CC, of course. A little bit susceptible to attacks, so the Banshees and Hellions help cover that. But Rogue is just powering up into the macro game. 2 Evolution Chambers already coming down. He's had a lot of success with the early melee upgrades in this. You can see this Creep Tumor spreading out into the center. Hellions of INnoVation around this top right-hand side. So INnoVation's Hellions around the top right. Just going to be coming through, and a Creep Tumor is going to get picked off right away. So that's going to go down as now Hellions continue to chase through. A couple drones pull away pretty quickly, so no losses there. And Hellions back out into the center as our 3rd orbital command. It's just going to move out into the center. So moving that out into the middle here again. Banshee Cloak on the way up. Stimpack starting up on the barracks. A couple extra barracks dropping down in the main base as well. I'm just going to be seeing the extra drone Zerglings and the Carapace upgrade all coming through on the natural expansion. As our Overlord of Rogue continues out into the middle of the map. Just really watching for all these different avenues of attack, which will really start to be utilized soon, of course. I mean, for the moment, these couple Banshees, and then soon enough, I'm sure these Marines will be on the map in medevacs before we know it, you know. As you just see the Banshees continuing down the bottom right then. So let's see the two Banshees to the bottom, and just going to be flying through. Oh, setting up that cloak now. So Banshees will be cloaking up the lair, the Bane Nest, continuing through the 1/1 melee upgrades on those evolution chambers. As he catches a drone already. Going to be catching a couple more as they start transferring. That wasn't the cleanest of micro right away, but it gets the job done anyways. 4 workers killed. And INnoVation already starting to pick away and chip away at some of this economy of Rogue. Of course, some of the games we've seen from INnoVation so far where he's been able to win out have been very successful because of the fact he's been able to come in with the Banshees and get a good few drones early. He's going for the Queen here. I think he gets it. He's afraid of the other Queen showing up. So he actually doesn't get it, in which case maybe would have been better getting a couple drones on the gases. So that's a bit of a shame, as that's a change up from Rogue. The Hydralisk then dropping down. So we've seen pure Lingbane into Hive. We've seen Lingbane Muta. We have not seen Lingbane Hydra, so that's going to be Rogue's choice here. Lingbane Hydra on this map, if you get the creep going, it can move across very quickly and get some good concaves into the Terran's bases to fight. And I feel like it really helps with some of the pushes down these ramps, etc. You can just have Hydras down there and they make it a much sturdier position to hold. It's also a map where I feel like drops aren't super great because it's very hard to kind of get... You can get into the main, but then you're very far away from mineral lines, so those drops don't generally go jumping from one base to the next so often. And so the Hydra is not as good at drop defense as the Mutalisk are, for example, so we'll see if INnoVation can maybe try and take advantage of that. I mean, if you attack here and you jump up in towards the main base, for example, there's definitely still drop potential. It's not like certain maps where the medevacs go from like the one mineral line to the next very easily. The first drop can fly straight into the main mineral line. You've really got to make a distance to get into that mineral line, for example. So, as you do see, Lings and Banes still out in the center. The Marines, Banshees, and a Siege Tank all joining up from INnoVation in the middle as well. Hellions morph into the Hellbats, and these Zerglings already thinking about moving through. Single Zergling comes in, gets shot down pretty much straight away. These creep tumors will be going down. So a lot of damage being done here as a lot of creep gets cleaned up and ready to press forwards here. INnoVation wanting to come through the center. We're going to see a Siege Tank sieging on the bottom side. As that Banshee's cloaking up, and Marines got to start stimming forwards. The Baneling already gets picked off as well. And again, this army of Rogue spread out in a very nice arc, waiting to kind of greet this army from Inno if it goes too far forwards. Like what Inno's doing though, just slowly kind of preparing from a couple different sides. Coming in from the bottom side, also perhaps as a creep tumor goes down, another one gets picked off as well. Lings running forwards, that Baneling's coming through. Marine's going to lift up into that medevac as we see a lot of Lings in the middle. Obviously, you can counterattack with these and then maybe pull them back to fight. This is a very well built up position right now though for INnoVation. Couple of tanks here. You've got all these Hellbats which are here from earlier in the game as well. INnoVation have not lost anything the entire game. It's even got the Banshees here to help deal some damage. This flank from Rogue has to be good. I kind of do wish though he would just go for like a run by first and then kind of like bring it back for the flank just to kind of scare on that third base a little bit. He might just be a little bit afraid of being caught by reinforcements. He's actually going to get flanked himself here as there's an army of reinforcements coming in from the left side. The Banes start rolling in. So many Marines off creep are going to have an amazing time though. And the Banes just absolutely melt as INnoVation destroys this army of Rogue. Absolutely no chance. That's going to be seeing the rest of these Lings and Banes running in. This is essentially the reinforcement wave from our Zerg. When these Banes go down, it's basically just pure Ling Hydra. And there's no Banelings available, which is so terrifying for a Zerg player. Because this Terran army can just stim in and have the time of its life. Doesn't have to worry about splitting up. Doesn't have to worry about anything. Siege Tank target fires the Hydras as well. So no friendly fire on Marines. The Lings are in melee range. As we will see, there's probably being pushed back. A few extra Banes finishing. Not sure if Rogue is going to use them right away. Okay, he will start rolling them into this army. Marines continuing back, and again some Lingbane Hydra taking some extra shots. More Marines of INnoVation out down to the bottom side. INnoVation, the thing is as well, the reinforcements came in such a large chunk at the perfect timing, which is really nicely done. Lots of Zerglings out into the center, and they're going to come around into the middle. A few Marines being picked away at. More of this army from INnoVation continue to fight. Hydralisk goes down, and Baneling gets picked up. Another Baneling does actually reach in there and get some damage done. These Marines continuing forwards, and these Zerglings taking a lot more damage as the rest of our Queens pressing through. A couple extra Banes going down. Man, you can just see it. There's just so much firepower here. These Banes are just dying as they run in. I mean, Zerglings running in one at a time. The hide from the Queens make a bit of a sturdier backline, but eventually you're going to break through to that backline, and it's getting weaker and weaker as it goes. I mean, a few Marines dropped down, but INnoVation is obviously now reinforcing. He dealt with the attack that was across the map. And there you have it, guys. We are going to a Game 7 between INnoVation and Rogue. How exciting is that? Very, very exciting. GG's. INnoVation ties it up 3-3. Alrighty, so game number 7. This is what it all comes down to, is in the bottom left-hand side. Our red Terran, INnoVation. In the top right, our blue Zerg Rogue. And we will not be seeing any sort of proxied barracks from INnoVation. I said maybe he will. Turns out he will not. All good. I'm just excited then to see what does come out of this then, as we get this started up in just a few moments. Couple drones on the way out from Rogue at the moment. So again, this up and running, and we're going to have a pretty regular start of the game then. Hatchery first, no proxy racks, and our final map will get off to a potentially very good start. As we do have the Everdream as our map here. Kind of interesting to see Everdream make it out all the way to map number 7. It's a map which I don't... It's a funny map because I feel like some Terrans hate it and some Zergs hate it. And I feel like as well, like, it's a map where some people just don't hate it, they just don't mind it, but they're not also too keen on it. Like, they don't love it, but they don't hate it either. It's just like one of the maps they play sometimes. So obviously here making it, coming out as map 7 is just... I guess it's not too crazy, right? Because I guess it's one of the least kind of... it's one of the more, I guess, sort of regular maps in a way. And in that sense, it's like, it's not great for one race over the other. So... You know, while usually we don't see purity in the industry or Nightshade as much in like best of 3s, in a best of 7, INnoVation, there's no vetoes, so he just picks those as the first 2 maps or so. Rogue's like, oh yeah, you don't get to veto Zen, I'll take Zen right away. So we actually see some of the weirder maps that we don't see as often earlier on in this series. As you see the SCV coming towards the natural, a couple of queens on the way up, Zerglings in production. We do see a command center on the natural, continuing to come in as well with the Reaper making its way across the map to have a look to see what's going on in the next few moments. This Reaper will just wander its way across to the upper right-hand side. A few Zerglings moving around. And the Reaper going to be jumping in here as Zerglings dealing some damage. Reaper pulls back a little bit. A couple extra queens going to be popping. And SCC on the natural expansion going to be done in just a few moments as well. With this Reaper coming down the right side, a third hatchery on the way up. Getting built there as well. Reaper grenade is going to be good to kill off that creep tumor, so it will go down. So creep tumor falls as the factory of INnoVation starts up in the back of the main base. This factory going to lift off. It's going to move to the reactor here. And the barracks just going to move over to the side as well. A mule sent away as it hits its end of its lifespan. And the final map of this series really doesn't have any twists or turns just yet. No extra gas mine. We're not seeing any sort of roach attack. I guess INnoVation, no 30cc. Oh. I say no twists and turns. I actually didn't notice the second factory coming up. Okay. So INnoVation's going to get a little bit funky here. Second factory early in the game. And he's also building a starport at the front. So if you... I mean, Rogue isn't scouting, but if he did, he's likely just to see a very regular setup. Maybe a late starport. If he came in very early with the Overlord, which you wouldn't usually do. Oh, this is interesting. Does he build a Viking as he goes Tech Lab over here? Maybe. Yeah, Viking, push back some Overlords, push back Vision. Then you get yourself like Infernal Pre-Ignited started. Okay. So INnoVation going to set up in towards Blue Flame Hellions. I actually feel like I saw somebody do this the other day, and they actually ended up transitioning into Bio afterwards. So that's something to keep in mind. Obviously, we're not at that stage just yet. I think you get an armory with this too, and you go in towards the Hellbats. Actually cancelled the Viking. He's going for a medevac instead. So yeah, there's the armory coming down. So there's more than just Blue Flame Hellions. It's going to be Blue Flame Hellbats. INnoVation sees the Overlord moving in. Now, a Bane Nest on the way up. So a lot of this will come down to how well those Banelings are going to be able to connect. Second Marine comes over. The medevac is seen. So immediately Rogue is like, okay, well, you're trying to drop Hellions. I get it. But what else does Rogue see? Not really anything. Doesn't see the armory. Doesn't see the factory. The only thing I would say is maybe you could see the timing of the medevac and be like, oh, why is that medevac so late compared to usual? Right? Like, if the starport came up right away and the medevac only just now popped, why is it like 15 seconds late? It's a good question to be asked. Even later, because actually the Viking Star then cancelled into a medevac. Reaper grenades its own Hellions as he morphs into Hellbats now, and so here we go. A few Banelings just now starting to morph in, so they didn't get going until just now. We're just going to be seeing the Hellbats coming through and just going to be going in after a bunch of these Banelings. One Baneling just gets denied, another Baneling goes up, a lot of Queens being picked away at, and wow, that's just going to be it. INnoVation's just going to walk over Rogue in towards the natural Blue Flame in his way all the way through. GG. And Rogue is going to tap out to give INnoVation Game 7 of this series. GG's and well played. INnoVation 4, Rogue 3. Pulls it back from being down 2-3. Wins 2 in a row, back to back. INnoVation is the champ of this best of 7. Thank you very much for watching, guys, on YouTube. I kind of forgot that this is the end of the series and it's a YouTube video, or designed to be a YouTube video, so I kind of said goodbye and then changed the scene before realizing. So ignore the little edit that just went on, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and obviously do consider hitting that sub button on the YouTube. Again, pushing towards that 20k subscriber count. And of course, don't forget you can like the video, you can comment as well. All of it helps support and push those videos out to more viewers. So thanks so much for watching. Of course, more uploads every single day here on youtube.com/WardiTV. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you next time.